Welcome back to Off the Rack Rebellion, the podcast where we talk about costuming and how to take everyday finds and incorporate them into your everyday cosplay. Now you're going to see something different if you're watching, but in a second you'll also hear him. We've got a guest on, Parade Rainer. How's it going?
What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me on the rack this time for the rebellion. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for stepping in. We had a little bit of a technical issue. Kate unfortunately could not be here. She did very much want to be here. She wants to tell all of you that she really really wanted to be here. She actually didn't say that, so I'm vamping for her.
Shout out to you, Kate. We miss you.
So today, I'm thankful that you're on. Again. Wait, have you been on? Yes, you have. You have guested before.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for coming back on. And we're
course.
going to be looking at the Andor season 2, the final trailer, the one that came out 2 weeks ago. Now I know on their socials they do a bunch of other like little cuts of things when they're maybe focusing on individual characters, but this was like the final trailer, what I'm calling the Welcome to the Rebellion trailer.
Oh yeah.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah, I did. I actually have a trailer breakdown. It was one of my few reactions that I've done recently. So I was keeping my eyes peeled for any like new costuming, anything I could take before the show comes back on Disney Plus. So I'm very excited.
This trailer gave me chills. I think I commented on the like Star Wars posting of it, and I was like, I have chills. Because I was very excited. I'm obviously very excited for the show, but this trailer in particular just like kind of really showed the gravity of everything, and I was like, oh god, here we go. So we're not gonna do like a sort of analysis. We'll get into that a little bit, I'm sure, as we have a conversation. But like, what we're mostly looking at, as always in this, is the costumes, right? I've pulled some photos, some screenshots, pretty much going down the line. I've mixed up a few things that needed to go together, but down the line. And the first thing we see is Cassian's brown costume. It's the very first shot of the trailer. He's walking away, he looks over his shoulders, He's got these like leather shoulders and this harness on.
Yeah.
This to me, because of the colorway, looked like what the crowds are wearing on Gorman, but I couldn't quite place like where he was. What are you thinking about that?
I'm not sure if it's. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember what Gorman looked like. I thought when he was in Gorman, it was like that blue outfit where he's kind of like dressed high society. That might have been Corellia if he goes to Corellia, but I'm actually not sure. To me, when I saw it initially in the trailer, I didn't even actually really think about the setting.
Yeah.
To me, that looked like ISB, but I might be
wrong. Yeah.
If it's there, that would be pretty interesting, but I'm not sure.
The building itself, I initially thought it was in the ISB building, but then that would be 3 different costumes in that ISB building.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is the heist to steal that tie.
Oh, right.
And so that would be 3 costume changes. And even for someone like me, which is like, I love a costume change.
Yeah,
Are we going to the next room? Okay, I'll throw something else on.
Yeah.
It seemed a little. I know that there is on Gorman, there is sort of some sort of outpost or a base or something like that. Because I think that might be where we will see the K2 droids and those steps that where the people of Gorman are gathering in front of. I think that might be an Imperial building, but who knows, right? We'll see. But anyway, I thought it was interesting just because of the of the harness and the shoulders and everything, really taking like what looks like kind of a regular suit jacket and kind of, giving it those cap sleeves and whatnot.
Yeah, I really like how it looks like it goes underneath and back over
Yeah,
to his right side.
yeah.
Because usually the looks that I've seen with harnesses, they usually have like kind of a center or
Hmm.
buckles on the side that strap in. So I
Yeah.
like the look of that. It's actually more minimal than I.
Yeah, it's almost one continuous thing. Yeah.
Right, right. But that's a pretty. You think? Do you think the shoulder pads are actual like leather? What do you
I'm
think?
not sure. I wasn't sure. I know that they're different. I know that they're different from the suit itself. They kind of
Yeah,
look like they're the same material as the collar, actually. So it
right.
might
Because it.
just be, yeah. I was calling it leather because it was sort of stiff and it sort of feels like the straps themselves, but could be anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's a cool look. I don't know if we've seen any from the front of
Mm-mm.
this outfit yet, so I'm curious what it will look like in the front.
Yeah, we haven't seen this one at all. And it might be, I mean, who knows? This might be this could even be some kind of local police garb
Oh,
that he
sure.
then sneaks into the who knows, I don't want to speculate too much, but
Yeah,
could be something like that because it looks a little it looks way different for Cassian. Doesn't really
it
seem like something
does.
that he would
I
wear. It
mean,
seems like something he's wearing as a disguise.
yeah, and he always says, you dress like them, you walk in like you belong.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm not sure who belongs in this specific area, but I'm excited to see it because this is what starts the trailer. So I'm wondering if this will be which act of this or which era
Yeah.
this one's going to be in.
And and this was looking like, I mean, we've seen like Deirdre in these hallways, so it could very well be
Mm,
ISB, and that could be what he walks into, and he
yeah.
just has like a bigger coat that goes over this,
Oh,
and that's
sure.
when they're walking in him and
Yeah, yeah,
Biggs.
yeah.
So it could be
Mm.
two changes, and it's that he walks in with this, takes off his coat, and then changes into the flight gear. Um, Next up, we see a kind of uncharacteristic. People have been like pouring over this scene. It was shown a little more clearly in the special look and some of the other trailers as well. And it's Deidre Miro in her apartment. Um, and people are looking at it because she seems, first of all, she's like dressed down, right?
Yes, I think her hair's down when I
Yeah.
zoomed in on it. Yeah,
And she seems kind of pensive, kind of worried. Um, I don't know if this matches up to some of the other images that we've seen of her where she looks like she's, actually fearful of something or someone.
she's going through it. She's going through it. And maybe
She
Krennic
is.
is doing his reviews, and it's not looking good.
It was time for her quarterly, and
Yeah,
she was sent home early, and this is her in her imperial pajamas kicking back.
yeah,
Um, I do love like I do love in costuming. I try to when I'm building any costume, I try to think of what is this going to look like in downtime. Like
sure.
I've
Yeah.
got things that are a full suit up moment, but then also um, I want to be able to shed layers, shed a jacket, shed a vest, shed whatever armor, something, and
Yeah,
then still have it look in universe, but to have it be a dressed down version. So whenever I
right.
see anything like that, I absolutely love it. We see it a lot in all of season one. Obviously the Aldani, the whole arc. There's a
Yeah,
lot of dress down moments in that.
yeah. Niamos. I thought of Niamos when he's leaving the
Yeah.
hotel,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that was your look
Yeah.
when you were on vacation.
Yes. Yes.
Very breathable, very light. So I'm curious what the Coruscant snuggies,
Yeah. Yeah, what do they how do they get down? What when they're curling up on their space couch to watch some hollow vids,
yeah, Hollow
to
Netflix,
watch hollow Sopranos, to watch the Huts. I don't know, maybe there's,
real,
oh,
real Housewives of Hoth.
real oh, that would be amazing. Oh my god. Why is it always so cold in here? They're always cold. Oh.
You got to shovel the snow again? Oh my goodness. No, yeah, I'm actually very curious, and we're assuming this is Coruscant,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, I would think this is close to home. Close to the ISB building.
Oh, right.
So I think this is, yeah. We don't know where she's from really, but we're gonna sort of take a leap here and say that this is, she lives right around the corner from work.
What if? Okay, so going back to the last Andor,
Yeah,
or Cassian walking through the halls, what if it's like that apartment complex, and he's about
could
to
be right.
bust into her apartment? All right, I don't know. It'd be kind of
Could
cool.
be because these hallways. It sort of seemed like some of the scenes from season one where we see Deidre, especially when she has that dust up with her colleague about reports and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she sort of comes out and forget the name of her like commanding officer, but
yeah,
he comes out and says like, hey, watch yourself.
yeah,
Essentially.
yeah. Don't climb up the
Like,
ladder too fast.
yeah,
It's a long
don't,
way
yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you might try to secure your footing before you jump up.
Hmm.
And I think it was in a hallway sort of like this, although this is much more dimly lit, so we don't
Yeah,
know. We
we don't
also
know.
like, every base could be, similar.
Yeah, we'll know
We
in a
don't
few
know.
weeks. We'll know
Yeah.
in a week or two.
Next up, I guess we have another. I just wanted to show that, like, because I think this was the first time that we saw Bix. I'm assuming this is Bix. Also in a test pilot flight suit. We've seen Cassian in it. We know what's going on. He's about to steal that tie. Do they steal two of them? Is she on board? Like that's something we haven't seen. Like, but she
Yeah.
is wearing a test pilot jumpsuit.
Can I chime in on one thing? There
Yeah.
was in the special look, I had the closed caption on. You could see this in my reaction. There's
Okay.
another named female character doing some voiceover. And
Okay.
so I'm not sure if this is necessarily Bix. It could be this
Okay.
other another character that he might come in contact with. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, because I
It
don't know.
could be an Imperial
Yeah, could be an Imperial or maybe a one who's
dissenter.
yeah, dissenter or someone who flipped more recently, like a
Mhm.
contact Luthen, Luthen might have got. So
Right, because in this scene, he is saying, what is he saying? Well, I wrote Cassian talking to Bix, but it doesn't necessarily have to be her. But he's calming her about going up against the Empire. What
yeah,
is
I
it?
don't
What
think
is it
Bix
exactly
needs
that he
calming,
says?
man. I think she's cold as ice right now.
Yeah, I think especially when she's running up in that building. Although I don't think that tie is in that ISB
No,
building.
no, it's a different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a different scene.
So I think we're gonna see a lot of different stuff, and I think that might be later, but who knows?
Yeah,
Um,
but exciting. There was a lot of
but yeah,
behind the headshot. So I was trying to see if I could do guess who, and I
yeah,
got a few right. I got a few right. So my guess is
yeah,
this isn't Bix. It's somebody else.
yeah, because he's saying we can't let the Empire win in that scene.
Mm,
That's exactly what he's like saying to that person,
yeah,
whoever they are. So it could be, could be a dissenter, could be another operative, could be who
yeah.
knows, right?
I would love that. I would love that.
Um, what I did love is that um, I don't think it's in this trailer, but it's in another trailer where Cassian says, "I'm thinking like a rebel," and Luthen replies, "Like you should be thinking like a leader."
Right, right.
And I just love the sort of connection to a moment like this, wherever this may be in the story, where
Hmm.
he's sort of calming somebody else and actually taking a leadership role. Like
Yeah,
so, I think it's going to be really great to see the mentorship he receives from Luthen, and then seeing him then kind of, you know, pay that forward.
yeah, yeah. Because in most of Andor season one, he's following Vel, or
Hmm.
he's not like or even he's following Andy Serkis. I'm forgetting his name at Narkina 5, and they're like kind of
Yeah.
co-captaining it, right? But
Right.
I like this arc where he's taking the buck and becoming this leader of this rebellion here, and taking it
Yeah.
in his hand instead of being more passive, right? On a more active role.
Yeah. Ooh, next up we see Saw Gerrera in a very similar shot to we see as the last time we saw him in when I say last time, I mean the last time we saw him in Rogue One.
Save the dream.
Um, a very similar shot. He might be standing in the exact same moment, which I think is a sort of great kind of rhyming scheme there.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's poetry. It rhymes. You know,
Hmm.
by George Lucas,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah, yeah. It's a
No,
big part of
I
it.
love that we're gonna see this armor. I'm curious if we're gonna get any of the because there is another shot. I don't know if you had it in the doc, but that green armor that he has,
Hmm.
and it looks like a flashback or of pre this armor too.
Yes. And yes, and it has to be a flashback because it's I think connected to the next like scene that I wanted to look at
Yeah, yeah.
because what was it that we were calling him in the chat? What is it? Pipe bomb Peter Pipe Bomb or what was it? Pipe Bomb Polly?
One of the partisans.
No, no, no. It's the kid from Ferrex that
Oh,
throws
the
the
kid.
pipe
Oh,
bomb in
yeah.
the.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I looked it up and I did get it, but no one ever says it. But I think we will hear it in this show. It's yeah.
We should refer
But
to him as the shoelace kid, the laces kid.
oh,
Laces
so pipe
Larry.
bomb Peter. I think he either the scene that you're talking about. He's talking to him. And he's like, "You're ready to fight!"
Oh,
Like,
okay. I didn't know. I
so I
didn't
think he
realize. Yeah,
joins up with the partisans, or at the very least, he wants to be sort of, wants to fight.
yeah, yeah. That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
and he's talking to him to pipe on Peter. In that, I don't think that was the name, so people are gonna get upset because they were like, "That's it. We're never gonna call him anything else but whatever it was that I named him."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but
Yep.
yeah, so we do see that green armor, which is the armor that we see in Jedi
Where?
Fallen Order.
Oh,
It's
okay.
also the
I didn't play Fallen Order.
Yeah,
That
it's
was blue.
also the armor.
That's cool.
I think it might be
Is it in
an
Clone
armor we
Wars?
see in anime. Yeah,
Yeah,
in an animated. I don't know if it's Clone Wars or if it's in Rebels. Do we see
Rebels.
Saw in Rebels?
Ooh, I don't think so. Not that I can
Because
recall.
I don't think we see old man Saw in Clone Wars.
Mm-mm.
We just see him young. Anyway, we've seen that green armor before.
Okay. Okay.
It could very well have been in Rogue One as well.
In Rogue One, he's wearing this one. The
Only, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think even when he pulls the hatch to take young Jyn Erso
Mm-hmm.
out, I think it's still this gray one, if I'm remembering correctly. Because the green really
Mm-hmm.
pops in the trailer. Because I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
I've never seen that." So maybe in the video games, possibly in Clone Wars, but not that. Well, you
Yeah,
could
I
correct
think
us in
he's
the
wearing
comments.
yeah, I think he's wearing the green one in Fallen Order, which is like,
Okay.
it's around all this same time. I did have a thought and I was like, are we going to see, or is it too late already to see anything from Jin? I don't think she'll make an appearance, but I thought maybe a flashback of, of the rescue of her, of somehow,
Well, she had involvement pre Rogue One with Saw. Like there's a
Mhm.
good chunk of time. And then
Mhm.
my guess, this is what I would want. Here's my little not prediction, but my want. I want to Cassian, like we have our Andor show. I would love to
Mhm.
have a Urso show
Nice.
because I
That
know we
would be
could
good.
pull some more characters from Rogue One and have more series in this style. Tony Gilroy, please, please come back.
I think he's done, dude. I
Please.
think he's done. And I think he should bow out. I think this is a grand bow
It
out. This is the
is.
first I think this is the first and only time that I will say like walk away and like just like
Just let it. Just let it.
let
Yeah.
it be because
Yeah.
this is incredible.
Well,
I saw a post. Now we're sort of, getting a little sidetracked, but who cares, right? It's
there
just
you
us.
go.
It's just us, right? That somebody did the calculations of the runtime. I forget who this was. It's a great cosplayer. He does a cosplay of Poe Dameron.
Oh, okay.
No, not Poe Dameron. He does a Cassian, a Rogue One Cassian cosplay, but he also does one of the characters from Dune that's played by. I was going to say this played by Poe Dameron. This played by
Oh,
Oscar Isaac.
okay. Yeah,
So he
yeah.
does both of those. So I
Grace,
just
the
conflated.
King of
Yes,
Trees.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I conflated the two. But anyway, he did I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, or something like that. He
Mhm.
calculated up the runtime of Andor season 1 and 2,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
calculated the runtime of episode 1 through 9. And
Okay.
there is more runtime on Andor than there is in the 9 movies. And
Yeah.
his thing was like, so like this is important. And I was like, of course it's important, but
Yeah,
like, of course, you're speaking to the choir. But
yeah,
I do think that does say something about like the importance of this, not only these characters, but of this era of the
yeah,
story,
yeah.
which I thought was great. But yeah, it's actually a longer runtime than the 9 movies.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
because even in Andor season 1, it's 12 episodes. They're about 45 to an hour. So
Hmm.
yeah, I
And
love it.
that's
Love it.
by no way discounting the. Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
it is. Oh, nice. Thanks, Ray.
Oh, this is the schedule. Yeah, yeah. Raimi just popped the schedule.
Oh, and the
Um,
times are there too. Oh, nice.
yes,
Okay. I was curious if we were gonna get, like, hour-long episodes or 30 minutes, and so I'm so happy that they're 45 plus, 44
yeah.
plus.
That's good.
Oh,
That's
oh,
good.
that's
Good. Good.
exciting. Gonna be very hard to review on my channel, but
I
we're gonna
know.
make it
Yeah,
happen. We're gonna make it happen.
yeah. I'm glad that I'm not gonna that I get to sort of take a little step back and do a retrospective like costume look, because like if I had to do the
Sure.
week
Yeah,
by
yeah.
week, and doing 3 hours of content and trying to condense that into some kind of hour long podcast or something talking about the story beats,
Yeah,
I think it'll be
podcast.
crazy. But if you need somebody to guest on your podcast about this stuff, let me know.
Oh, sure,
Anyone
yeah,
that goes out to everyone, yeah.
of course, of course,
Because I would
of
love to talk
course,
about it,
yeah,
but I think we like to focus on the costumes here. Anyway, let's let's
the
let's
costume,
keep
of
going,
course.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I did these 3 or 4 photos all together. We still don't know exactly where this is. There's a lot of speculation as to where
mhm,
this is. I bring this up because I just love the colors. If I needed to describe Andor season 1 in a sort of a, a palette of colors, it would be sort of chartreuse and orange
yeah,
and these sort of warm earth tones. And what I'm seeing a lot, which I love because I love playing in these colors, I do it all the time, um, uh, that bouncing from world to world, wherever this is, to Gorman,
yeah,
to the rebel marines that we're going to see. There's a lot of these like these jewel tone blues, these
oh,
light
yeah,
blues, and then these browns and these like sort of tertiary like rust and hay colors, which like
yeah,
go really well with this wherever this is.
yeah.
We still don't know.
The costume designer for this show definitely needs nods for sure, because
Oh, yeah.
it separates it and it makes the galaxy feel bigger,
Hmm.
right? Instead of
Hmm.
everyone in every planet dressing the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that hay, that gold brown, and then the pops of like burgundies and those blues, like you were speaking of. It looks really good. It looks really
I
good.
love those. Yeah, I love those. Like they're like sort of sand, like camel colors. Yeah, with that blue. Rios and I,
Yeah,
when we did that little like mission,
yeah,
little photo mission, we were in these colors, and it's just like it's now like I'm just like well, I just wanted to put myself in here a million times
yeah,
every
yeah.
time I flip out of those pictures and pop myself into these. We
Mhm.
do see two emo in the background, one of these shots.
Yeah.
The little, I just looked at it and I was like, the little ears on this like hut, is that like a loth
Oh.
thing? No, is that
Oh,
how sort of
okay.
mentioned? think so, but who knows, right? Because I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, there's,
Um,
speaking of droids, there's like a sprinkler droid behind that kid running across the screen on the right.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
He has like little arms and he's like, it looked like sprinklers to me, which would
yeah.
make sense for this agriculture.
There's yeah, there's a bunch of these kind of like armed drone. Well, I know that that one's a sprinkler, and this is some sort of agricultural kind of planet. It would seem.
Yeah.
Um, but we also see those like many armed sort of spider droids
Oh,
on a lot of the times on landing pads and things like that. And I
okay.
think they might be either mechanic droids or actually just like grabbing tools and passing it to
Yeah.
whoever's actually doing
Yeah.
repairs, which makes more sense. Um, but yeah, anyway, I love the colors of these. It's also colors that like we've seen because we've seen the Rebel Marines are in these colors.
Okay.
But I love that there's a whole community of people that are like this. Is this Dalna? I mean, Krios found that planet Dalna, and he was like, well, let's do blues and let's do browns because of like it was specific to that planet, and we were
Yeah.
supposed to be
Okay.
sneaking into this place and blending in so that we can get
Yeah.
to this abandoned like thing. But anyway, we still don't know where it is. That little hut though, is that like a nod of like,
Might
yes, it
be. Hey,
is.
it
Yeah.
might be. My guess. I mean, people have said Dantooine. People were thinking Lothal.
Mhm.
There's that episode in the Tales of the Jedi where Ahsoka goes and then she fights that Inquisitor, and there was some kind
Mhm.
of agriculture there. So I'm wondering if
Yes.
they would tie those together. I would be
Mhm.
surprised because Tony Gilroy is very light on cameo
Yeah.
from season one, but I looked that planet up and it wasn't named. So
Right.
um, so yeah, I'm not sure, but it's very cool aesthetic. Like I like the more flat palette so that everything else kind of pops on top. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good. Yeah. There's almost like milk containers and stuff. This is like full
yeah,
on, like, this is an agri world, which is what they're called, like in Star Wars.
yeah, and everybody's
Um,
just all smiles for now.
everyone's everyone's all smiles until that Gazanti cruiser shows up. There's a I didn't
Yeah.
include that shot because we've talked about Bix's look um before on the
Hmm.
pod, but there's a shot of her that's been in every trailer where she's with Peter Pipebomb
Hmm.
and another character, and then they're in these beautiful blues. That's obviously they're here, and
Yeah.
they look up and a Gazanti cruiser is
Oh, right,
coming,
right.
which is like, is that the first time we see a Gazanti cruiser in live
Oh,
action?
live action. Interesting. I didn't even
One
think
of
about
my
that.
favorite ships.
Surprisingly, I wasn't even looking at what they're looking at. I was looking at their
Mhm.
packs, and he has like a
Yeah,
side pouch. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Greeblies, and what's on their backpack?
Oh, did I not include that one?
I
Oh,
don't
I
think so.
didn't. Oh, but I did take a screenshot of that. I'll put it
Okay.
up on the Insta when this episode comes out. But
Yeah.
there is this one shot of like, the very popular like side pouches that people wear when they, obviously like if you're going to Galaxy's Edge or something like that, you can't take a holster, even if it's
Right.
empty, even if it's got something else in it.
Yeah.
You
No
simply
holster.
cannot take one in. So the other option is to get that sort of thigh bag
Hmm.
situation. But what I liked about the one in this is that it's very different. It's sort of a semicircle, like a pointed sort of semicircle
Okay.
with tools in it, and it
Yeah.
just made a lot of sense to me. It looks like it's hanging off of a belt or connected to a belt rather than being on the thigh.
Right. Almost
Yeah.
like a tool belt. It reminded me of kind of
Mhm.
like a Droid Smith style where they would have like a bunch of
Mhm.
little tools. Maybe mechanic. Maybe there is a Droid Smith to fix the droids here.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Peter Pipebomb has to do because he's the technical one. Um,
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
he might have found his niche there. But
Yeah.
it was like it's in the foreground. It's a little blurry when the Gazanti comes in.
Mhm.
But it's with another female character. I think she had red hair, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um,
she has a very, like, strawberry blonde, like, hay-colored hair, like, very
yeah.
strawberry blonde, sort of reddish blonde, and she's wearing this, sort of blue kind of tunic. We've talked about it, before in the pod, and it was,
Okay.
almost Viking-esque. There's because it's a wrapped tunic and it's a wrapped sort of dress in the front, and she's got sort of errant braids in her hair, so it's almost very almost Viking looking
Yeah, yeah.
inspired,
Okay.
which I thought was really great.
Yeah.
The color as well, and she had like a pod and things like that, like hanging from her
Yeah.
pack as well. So they're
Mhm.
very like utilitarian. These people.
Yeah.
There is there's a we see small glimpses of people, and we see these standing collars and wrap tunics, which is pretty standard everywhere. But
What
I
I
just
just
love the difference of colors. Yeah.
Yeah, what I just realized was his, like, watch or something on his wrist there.
Yeah.
I didn't see that before on my look, but
Yeah.
that's interesting. I don't know if we've
Yeah.
seen anything. Have we seen too many people with, like, watches or
We
wrist?
have. Yeah, we have. KVS has a wrist mounted
I haven't
comms.
played it yet. I gotta play Outlaws.
Um Obviously throughout it's not exactly a watch, but throughout all of Clone Wars, their comm links are on their bracers.
Oh, okay.
But I do believe characters that didn't wear like heavy sort of forearm armor, like maybe even someone like Ahsoka,
Mhm.
um, had a wrist mounted, the same comm link. It was sort of a pill shaped with two lights on it, if
Oh,
you
okay, okay.
remember the little comm links on there things. And I think she had just a wrist mounted one, almost like a watch. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Like a,
okay,
like with a band. We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it.
okay.
Which I think it's cool, I think there's a lot of different ways to do that. It also
Yeah.
like introduces like, if you there's a lot of great makers out there that will completely transform your Apple Watch into something else that looks like something else that'll look like something like this. So
Yeah.
props, right? Props. He's got a great one. I'm sure he has to sort of update it as there's a new Apple Watch every 3 months, but
Yeah.
he did make one at one point that kind of clamshelled onto um, the Apple Watch, and I thought it's really cool. I also
Yeah.
featured one thing which I always thought was like cool, like which is almost like a two-finger glove that goes on the index and
I
the
remember that.
thumb. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's sort of like on the armpit between the between the thumb and the index finger, and that's where a smartwatch would go, and
Okay.
that always felt very kind of Star Warsy to me,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Is
it's
that for, like,
leather and then
bow and arrows? Is that what that would be maybe used for, where people can get that?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the actual product.
Yeah, the one
It
that you said
well,
you have.
they was for, like, runners. There was a lot of,
Oh,
like, runners in their, like, promotional stuff.
interesting,
So I'm
okay.
wondering if it's just, like, so that you don't have to, like, do this. You can really
Oh,
just, like,
got it.
run and, like, walk and
Oh,
see,
okay, okay.
I don't know, your steps, your breathing. I don't know what people that run need to look at. Their
Yeah,
speed. I don't know. How
I'm
fast are you going? Like, I don't
I'm
know.
a proponent of walking. I'm a big walker.
I'm a big walker as well. I would like to see exactly how slow I'm going. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Who do
So
we got?
anyway, people
Yeah.
are having a great time here.
Yes.
I love this rust color that Bix is
Oh,
wearing. It's all
yeah.
in the same family as well. The shot of her like eating like some toast or whatever. I also want to see what they're eating. Like, you know what I mean? I love that
Sure,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
stuff. We've talked
Uh-huh.
about this before. Um, and I love the three tones. So she's wearing like a sort of deeper rust color. The gentleman to her left, our right,
Yeah.
is wearing kind of like this sand tone over shirt, and then something that's in between the both, which is the
Yeah.
wrap like tunic thing. So it's like three
Yeah.
different tones, and I love doing that. I love the mixing of these like similar but different tones.
Yeah.
It creates texture through color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's the way it's just sitting, but it's like a shorter collar that comes in.
Hmm.
That looks really cool. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I've seen that before, but that wrap very reminiscent to me of like the Jedi, how the tunics come
yeah,
across. But it has to be lightweight. Like I like more the practical, like how it would work practically with the work that
Hmm.
they're doing. Um, like the overalls, of course, make sense. Kind of getting
Yeah.
pressure off the back and having your pants up in that way. So, no, it's a very cool aesthetic. I can't wait to see more when the show comes out, just to see how this
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, I hate to see this like happy moment broken up, but it's
Welcome
gonna
to
have to
Star
happen.
Wars.
It's gonna have to happen. So next up, we've got a stunning look from the queen herself, Mon Mothma. Not the actual
Genevieve
queen, but
O'Reilly,
our queen.
shout out to her.
Oh,
Amazing.
she's killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. And I think it's funny that G- Gilroy is not a cameo person. He's not going to give you fan service.
Right.
But then we get these moments, and it's usually when with Mon Mothma, and we'll see another one of her looks, where now it just looks like she's animated. You know what I mean? Like not in a bad way. I just mean like these are the costumes that we have seen her in before.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
really great to see her in live action. And
Yeah.
this is one that I think translates beautifully. And there's another cream one that we'll take a look at in a sec. That also is like right out of like Rebels, right out of
Yes.
like
Yes.
amazing.
Do you
Yeah.
think we'll see her look that we see her in the original trilogy, that white, like looking more gown thing at all? Or do you think
I don't know. I think that might be deep in, and it's actually like um I'm wondering if that's like that we've been painted into a corner with Mon Mothma with that look, not in a
sure?
bad way, but like um, it does seem like there's probably something a bit more interesting for her to wear than like a long sort of white gown, but it fits. It
Yeah.
fits. I think her as this kind of like matriarch of the rebellion, like I think it absolutely fits. I think for the original trilogy, I think they were sort of running on a theme there with like
Yeah.
Leia and with Mon Mothma, so
Right.
it would
Right.
totally make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I love her costumes throughout season one, and we see many, and I'm sure we're going to get a few new ones with what I'm assuming is her daughter's wedding, and then
Yeah.
her her gown. I would assume the reception. I think we're
Hmm.
going to get a lot of cool looks from Mon Mothma. I really like her pendant.
Oh yeah,
So cool. I think she had that in
Mars,
season one.
Mars, if you're listening.
Yeah, that corner of course I get on it.
This is you're up, buddy.
You're
You've
up,
been
man.
you've been ghost for too long. You're up, buddy. It's time
Put the
to
baby down.
put the baby down. Put the the Hayamea stones down or whatever it's called. But let's move on. We need this.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be really cool to have
um
these looks.
here we so next up, and again, here's the just wanted to say here's a just as a color palette to the entire show. If you want to take her hair and her skin tone and that blue into account, we're sort of dealing with these same kind of like sandy camel colors, these blue colors. So there's a sort of thread of a color palette throughout
Mhm.
that we're going to see, which I think is incredible. Have you ever seen? I haven't seen one of these in a very long time. It was I think it was either an artist or it was some sort of data collection thing that turned into sort of an art thing, and it was coming out around the time that Breaking Bad was like ending. And what they
Okay.
were doing was taking whole like series, right? And condensing them down to their main colors per episode and then
Oh.
squishing them all together. So it looks like it's just like imagine a rectangle of just a bunch of different blocks of color. And then
Uh-huh.
you could see an overall like color palette of a
Whoa.
show or
Yeah.
even of seasons of a show.
Yeah.
Um I haven't seen that done, but it was done at some point. They did The
Yeah.
Sopranos. They did a bunch of different things.
Yeah, it would be
Um,
great for this. I would love to see
mhm.
that Andor squished. I mean,
Yeah,
any of the Star Wars really, but Andor has such a vast array, and like you're saying, like this season definitely has a color scheme that it's going for, especially in the trailers.
Yeah. And then, I mean, juxtaposing that with the next photo, which is like, I mean, nearly the identical colors, and these
Yeah.
are the feet of rebel Marines. These are the Marines that will show up on Scarif. Not exact, maybe not the
Oh,
exact
got it. Yeah, yeah.
people, but these are the rebel Marines, and you can see the same colors that we
What's
see.
interesting is when I think of the rebellion, I think of orange. So it's weird that it's kind of like
Right.
shifted, because
Hmm.
orange in my mind now goes to Narkina 5 and being a prisoner
Hmm.
of this
Yeah.
world, and now it's like the blue is like shooting out, throughout these trailers. So
I think it's funny because we were talking about this in an episode that we recorded last week, and
okay.
it was our favorite moments of Andor season 1, right? It's
Yeah,
hard to choose, but it
yeah,
was
yeah.
we
There's a
picked
lot.
like our favorite like person and this and the other, just a little sneak peek. Well, if you're listening to this, that one will have already come out. So,
Um,
um, anyway, last week we talked about how orange is actually in the movies is actually kind of like
oh
a
right.
side color. Now, obviously, the X-wing pilots all orange, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
orange
Full
jumpsuits, right?
jumpsuit. Yeah.
And I think it's the combination between the orange X-wing jumpsuits, flight suits, and then the depiction of the Rebel Starbird um, in orange, sometimes red,
Mm,
actually most of the times red, that I think has triggered like orange means rebels, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And I think that happens then it comes into all of the like our costuming and whatnot. Like we want to sort of depict it in that kind of way.
Sure.
But it's actually, I would say, like I would go as far as to say as it's a smaller percentage than we think of the full like range of like rebel
A rebel. Yeah,
infantry,
probably. Yeah, yeah,
and Marines and pilots. Because even there's Blue Squadron. There's all the A-wing pilots are in green jumpsuits. Like,
yeah,
everyone on Hoth is in white and tans. Like the
yeah,
Rebel Marines are in blue and camel. Like,
yeah. And the New Republic, I think, with the Mando era, I think they're mostly blue, if I'm
mm-hmm,
remembering. Like at least the
mm-hmm,
symbol is in my mind's eye. I feel like
yeah,
the new rebellion soldiers are in blue, or I don't know if they're
yeah.
called soldiers, but yeah. So it's shifting over. It's shifting over, and I like it. I like it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. So we'll get a glimpse of them. Um, there's many a chat that I'm in that people are like, I hope this isn't like the only thing that we see of them, and I'm like, it's Tony Gilroy. We're gonna see them in action.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, before we move on, I'm actually surprised how minimal the boots are
right.
in this shot.
Hmm.
Because in
They're all
my
different.
mind,
I love.
yeah, yeah, in my mind, when I see boots, they're a little bit more. I mean, with what we have today, there's a lot more going on. But
Yeah,
this minimal look, I was actually very surprised. There wasn't much here.
I have an episode that I'm sort of writing up, and it talks about that a little bit. It sort of goes into the I think maybe misconception is probably too aggressive of a term, but I think there is a tendency to want to go very busy with Star Wars stuff, to kind
Yeah,
of add on more stuff to
yeah,
have an extra thing on, and like that's going to sort of take your look sort of further into that universe. But what we see on screen is actually very pared away. It's
yeah,
just beautifully styled, like,
yeah.
and you can make something look busy with just a few elements. And it's all
Yes.
about like, and I'll talk about it in that episode, and I'm kind of kicking it around in my head and doing you can look at the notes. They're down there. But it's this the fight between like maximalism and minimalism. And I
Yes.
think what we
Yes.
see in Star Wars is actually a lot more minimal
Yes.
than what you would imagine. Of course, like there are a lot of details. Like, can one call a pleated sleeve minimal. Well, yes and no. That's a very complicated, like, construction,
Right.
but it's just a stripe, really, when you
Right.
look at it from far. So,
Right.
um, it's this play between a maximalist and minimalist, and I think um, for my money's always on minimalist. Like, that's always going to take you further. There was a post that I put up today of the look that you saw in person. That's the one that I took to
The
the
white vest.
yes, to the Cantina crossover,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
I
one
saw.
of my most simple looks, but I think reads so insanely Star
It
Wars.
does.
And like, if I were to add like then like a comms, like a chest, like comm link, and then maybe, I don't know, armor or something of the sort, like it starts to become a little too much.
Right.
And my goal is always to use the fewer amount of items, the least amount of items, sorry, to convey that. And
Yeah.
then maybe you can sort of add on a little cherry on the top. But I think that's always the best course of act. That's how I style. That's what I
Yeah.
should say. That's how I
One
style
one of
costume.
the looks I have for a celebration, it'll be my last day. It is probably the most minimal denizen look I've put together, and it's
Yeah.
literally a jacket that, and
Yeah.
then everything else is going to be black
Yeah.
and nothing crazy. I'll have my smuggler's belt on, but
Yeah.
when I was building the outfits for celebration, obviously for traveling purposes, it's better to travel light.
Of course.
But even when I reached out to you, I said, "Here's the base look, and
Hmm.
then let's see what accessories are going to go with it." And I, picked and from what I had and decided. But most of these denizen looks uh, become less accessorized because the thought process is if I'm trying to blend in, I don't
Hmm.
want to stand out with a bunch of accoutrement on me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Especially if I'm supposed to be everyone and no one for Burgundy Squadron.
Exactly.
I'm gonna look dressed down a little bit, and it might not read completely Star Wars, but in the photos and the things that I'm taking pictures with, I'll be telling that story. But
Hmm.
that's how my brain is building out these denizen looks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong if that's something you want to be more maximum and you want to have all the gear and the pockets and the greeblies and things. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But for myself and my taste right now, I'm looking less. I'm dressing less.
Yeah, so am I. I think it's a good practice to try to use the least amount of elements that you can to try to make it read, and then maybe you can sort of build out from there to being careful. Raimi just chimed in and he said the rebel fleet troopers, the blue shirt guys at the beginning of A New Hope, it's the first thing that we see in Star Wars, and it's the simplest costume. He says
Oh yeah,
boots, pants, belt, shirt, helmet, that's it, no
yeah,
adornments, no nothing.
yeah,
And I think that's like that sort of it's almost retro future, it's minimalist, it's pared down, like that's what that's what we started with. I mean,
right.
I think we can then sort of tie in, like that's why Princess Leia has like a white dress with a belt. That's why
Right.
Mon Mothma has a long, just flowing like
Hmm.
white dress with little adornments. But even when you look at the X-wing pilots, like it's an orange jumpsuit, it's the flak vest,
Yeah,
and then it's their
the breathing
their
apparatus.
breathing apparatus, and then straps. Like it's really not that complex,
Right.
of a look. It's very, very like stripped down.
Hmm.
Everything that you need is there, but I think it is composed in such a way where it moves your eye along and up and down the costume,
Yeah,
and visually, mentally, it sort of looks like there's a lot going on, but there actually isn't. That's a
yeah,
beautiful sort of magic trick that happens, and
yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I love that.
yeah, yeah. The OT, Raimi says the OT costumes were very minimal, grounded in
Mhm.
real world practicality, but just unique enough to make them like alien and otherworldly. Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely.
100%. Yeah, because
Um,
I even have to think like in your everyday, like I'm, going to work, I just wear short pants, have my wallet on me, my keys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
survive in the forest or anything, and I wouldn't expect the people in Star Wars on their everyday to have, their pack and pouches and things hanging
Yeah.
off. It's like it's not practical if you're looking at like that denizen look. It makes sense for like
Yeah.
if you're out and about and trying to save the galaxy, sure,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's also why I always wear a second belt rather than a full-on belt rig. Because the way I see it is like, well, as like you see in old Western movies and things like that, like the gun belt has nothing to do with the belt holding up your pants. Like
right,
your gun belt is your gun belt, and
yeah,
that can be taken off and put back on
yeah.
when you're at rest or when you need to, like, I don't know, get
Go into a
to it,
bar
right?
with no guns. Get that
Exactly.
in.
So that's why I always have to, because I always think like, when I'm back on my ship, I'm taking my like my the belt that has my holster and stuff off and taking my jacket off and
Yeah,
chilling. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, let's get back on track. So this is a little something I was talking to Raimi off mic, or um earlier, that I noticed when I was sort of pulling screenshots here. But if we see Val and Cinta. That is oh,
The
I love
girls,
them.
the
The girls are
badasses.
back. Girls are back. These two, I love these two. I
These two
love these two.
killers. These two
They are
killers.
stone cold. Um, some of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Cinta being like way up there.
Yeah, we need to
Um,
see more of her for sure.
Yeah. So, I noticed them in this trailer. They hadn't been shown in any other trailer. I don't want to say they were on the special look. Because a lot of the special look is, bits that were used for this trailer as well. Um, so we see them. They're together. Great. Hold hands. Kiss. I love it. Um, but kill people also, right? I love it.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for the sapphic undertones. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But what I noticed was then this gorgeous shot that looks like a painting of the partisans, right?
Oh
Sort
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
gearing up. I mean, this shot is a beautiful shot. My hat's off to, the cinematographer and the lighting people on this
100%.
day, because this looks like a painting. I can't wait to see it in motion, and I can't wait to pull every single screenshot from this scene. What I noticed was we see a very foggy sort of night, and we
Hmm.
see these sort of bluish lights, these white sort of bluish lights, and we see it in both shots.
Hmm.
I don't want to speculate too much, but I do love that there could be some sort of a connection between Vel and Cinta and the partisans. They're either
Yeah.
keeping tabs on them, which would be amazing, or
Oh,
they
interesting.
just go full on rogue and are like, we're partisans now.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm trying to remember where that in the special look. I thought it was Vel holding up a rifle, and I didn't really look at the extras that hard. Maybe it's a different area because it looked more like that farm town. But it would be
Okay.
really interesting if Vel and Cinta are working with Saw and the partisans here. That would be
In some
awesome.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because with the shot of Cinta and Vel in the trailer, they had that like turtleneck, and it reminded me of like kind of their stealth gear when they were on the
Hmm.
Aldani heist. So it's
Hmm.
very like a 007, like
They
turtleneck.
are.
Yeah, and we get that like that feel from them. I love that, and I want more. That's why I want to see more Cinta and
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, if this is a spy thriller, and if the James Bond movies are more about an assassin than they are of a spy. He's not a great spy, but he is a great assassin.
yeah,
um,
100%.
and so I think that's the distinction. People think James Bond is a spy, and it's like, I don't think he's a spy. I think he's an assassin. Like,
Just body
spies are
counts. Yeah,
quite boring jobs. Like, spies
yeah,
are
yeah.
quite boring jobs. There's a lot of hushed conversations and a
Right.
lot of little like papers dropped off in
Yeah,
in library books.
yeah.
Um, Um, so they are the James Bonds because they're stone cold killers.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, anyway, I don't want to speculate too much, but I'd love to see what's going on here. And also, like, this is a loose sort of tie-in. This could be two completely different places, two nighttime shots, and it just happens to be lit by the same lighting crew,
Yeah.
so they're going to use the same lights, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's
But
why they're like close in the trailer, so it makes
something
sense.
about it, I was like, something about it is great. I'm wondering if they're gonna keep tabs on it, and this is like leading up to Gorman. Anyway, we're is it leading up to Gorman? Is it are they keep anyway? Did Luthen sent, or are they keeping tabs? I don't know, but
We
I
don't
want to
know. We
see.
don't know.
This
We're
is the
getting
show
close.
I
We're
want to
getting
see.
close.
This is the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
I want. I want Bell and Cinta. Like,
Ooh,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
show I
yeah.
want.
That would be cool.
Maybe a partisan show. Why? We've got everyone, right?
Yes.
We've
That's why I
got
said Urso
everyone.
show. Urso show would tie that all in. Just give
they
me a
they
Jyn
they
Urso show.
made the big, I forget the big fuzzy's name. I love him so much.
Oh yeah, yeah. I looked it up. I even looked up
Yeah,
his
so did
species
I.
too.
Yeah, so did
Motif
I.
or something like that
I
is
love
the
his
name of
I
the bird.
love his backpack. It's fucking amazing. Oh, excuse me. So amazing. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah. Anyway, they could do a partisan show. I think they
Yeah,
could.
yeah, yeah. They probably could.
Movie, there goes our PG rating. I'm sorry, I got too excited. I got too excited with this fuzzy dude. I don't think we're exclusively PG.
We're further enough in the episode where we'll be.
I think so. We get one.
We get one, yeah.
That one's for Marva.
He said,
I got too excited. I have his little Lego figure as well. Like, I love this
Oh,
figure. I
nice.
just want to
Okay.
hug this dude.
Nice.
So anyway, and I have him. Yeah, exactly. So now we get to that cream colored Mon Mothma look.
Oh,
This
yeah.
to me was like, this is straight out of like Rebels animated. I think, was it Star Wars, or like, oh, there's an account on Instagram. I think they're called Figure Brian. I'm pretty sure we all follow them. And they just did like all the looks of Mon Mothma.
Oh,
and they showed this, but then they also showed the animated ones, and it's straight out of Rebels, like straight out of Rebels.
I love that. I love Rebels so much, so I'm so happy that someone in the costuming department or Tony's like, yeah, that's fine. That costume will work. I'm super happy about that. Not to get to speculate again. I don't know who she's talking to.
I think she's talking to Luthen.
Oh, I love that.
I think she's talking to Luthen. I think that might look like his shoulder. I think he's got his lace front on. Yeah. He's got his wig on.
Great wig.
He's got his little lace front wig on. Because they do show him. I didn't include it because it I think it just might be a repeat. I don't think we're going to see very different costumes for Luthen. I think we're going to see a few repeats.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine, but I think there's a shot of him dressed up. He's got these cufflinks. The first time we've seen cufflinks, I think, in Star Wars, which is great. A French cuff with cufflinks. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Could be him, could be somebody else. It could be anyone, but obviously it's somebody dressed up, and I don't know if he'd go as far as to meet her somewhere, because I don't think this is the antique shop. So
no, yeah. We'll see.
And then lastly, I just had another crowd scene, which we're going to pour over, I'm sure, when the show comes out, of Gorman. A lot of people are very excited for the hats.
What's your take on that?
I'm into it. I'm into it.
Okay.
I say more hats. Yeah, I say more hats. I'm not a fan of like a fedora or a pork pie hat. They have very sort of weird and negative connotations in the world. I wouldn't go that route, but I love an actual brimmed hat, like a real one, like not a fedora or a pork pie, a real hat. With a wide brim, like something nice, So I'm into it. I think we're going to see all different types of things. I love the idea that we're going to get berets. I've always wanted
a lot of berets.
Yeah.
A lot of berets there. Um,
Um,
there's some
but
like hand almost. I don't know if the person in the front is pulling their sleeve up or if it's like a kind of like a almost like covering a hand covering that goes down the forearm
right,
under the jacket. Um, I don't know. I mean, is it me? I'm getting a lot of like French Revolution.
I'm getting French Revolution vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
definitely getting French Revolution. There's this one lady that I wanted to talk about, and she's on the bottom right corner. And I
Okay.
don't know if that's a hat. I don't know if it's a helmet. I don't know what it is, but I want one, and I want one yesterday.
With her bob, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's giving yeah, the French it's still giving me like a big French vibe, that hat
it
still.
is. It
Yeah.
is. It is, right? Like if you put like a if you give her a veil and a feather out the side, like you're in Paris, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. If I took this screenshot as like they're protesting in France, I don't think anyone would question
Exactly.
would
I,
question it.
I want to know what this like symbol is, which is the first time that I'm actually seeing it. In every other
Dharma
trailer, we
Initiative
see
from
these.
Lost, actually.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? That's what it looks like. It also kind of looks like Narkina, the
Oh, and
the
Marquina.
prisons from
Yeah.
above.
That would be kind of interesting if they're
But I don't know
protesting
if
on
I don't
that.
know if this is some kind of you know, Garmin thing.
Yeah.
But in every other trailer, we see these banners and they look like they're just colored banners, like with no symbols on them. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
pulled this because I was like, oh, we get the lady with the cool hat and the bob,
Yeah.
but we also get whatever symbol this is,
Right. Right.
which I don't think we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I can't recall any of the current symbols that look like that. I wonder if it's maybe because it would be interesting if it's just like the Gorman symbol, but I think it is probably their rebellion symbol. I would.
Right. And it's also like I mean, I'm just kind of like trying to piece it together from what I can see here, but it's like it's an odd number shape. So it's either 9 sides or 11 sides, depending on what the top and the bottom are doing, which I
Okay,
thought was also weird. Like
interesting.
it's not a hexagon, it's not an octagon. It's like a
Okay,
9-tagon or an 11-tagon, whatever they're called.
Septagon. We're no shapesmiths over here. We talk about
Yeah,
costumes.
it's a 9-tagon, probably,
Yeah, I
from what I can tell. Yeah.
yeah, I think these costumes they'll feel more like earthy. There are a couple of different things that they're doing, like with the collars and with the
Mhm.
trim, um, that are that does take it to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm very excited to see this scene too, just because I'm wondering if any Star Wars fans will go, you know, Gorman looks. We do our Ferris
Right.
Fridays, and then like, oh, hey, we're gonna do this look because
We're
I
gonna
have
do
like, I have overcoats that might
yeah.
match something like this, but we'll see. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I think it'll be interesting. I think what I love from the series, both season 1 and 2, is the individuality that we see in all of the costumes. It's something that the costume designer was very, aware of and really wanted to make a point of showing individuality. It is
Yeah.
all throughout Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
there is also dipping into my next like episode because I also wrote something about this
Little
as well.
previews.
But like it's no, it's not recorded, so it'll be previous. We won't record it for another. We won't record for another 2 or 3 weeks
People
because
would
of
forget. They'll forget. Short
no.
memories.
I've got it all written. I've got it all written down. But I was talking about like the now I lost my train of thought. What was I
We're
talking
talking about the
about?
coats and the looks. I said mention the collars, um, and Gorman looks versus like Ferris Fridays and people, and you were saying individualities of.
Oh, yes, yes. How like there's actually a lot of individuality in Star Wars. It's very
Mhm.
kind of this is gonna sound very bizarre for me to say,
Let's
but
hear.
it's almost it's again the thing with the orange that it's a smaller percentage of people that wear uniforms than there are that people that don't.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
even in the rebel ranks, like for instance, the rebel Marines, the Scarif Marines, like
Oh
they
yeah.
have a general look, but they're all hit it
Vastly,
up differently. Yeah.
vastly different. Yeah.
And I
When
think we
you,
see that way more than we see uniforms, like
yeah,
a uniform thing. Now, this is obviously in a show where we see sometimes hundreds of stormtroopers, like on
right.
screen or from above or whatever. Yes, that is a cookie cutter uniform. I think on that side of the coin, that is part of their intimidation, the anonymity of it. I
Yeah.
think on the side of like these rebellious sort of freedom fighters, which have always been described as a ragtag bunch, you're getting people from all walks of life, picking up whatever they have around them
Right.
to get up and fight. So I think that's the difference. So I love the individuality in these. So we're gonna see a lot of it in Gorman. Will we do Gorman Thursdays? I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, any days that
There's also a very 1930s like
yeah.
through line
Yeah.
in Gorman. It looked very with the hats and everything. It looked very period piece. Like it could
Yes.
be also A Thousand Blows. I don't know if you've seen that show, but it could either be Andor season 2 or it could be A Thousand Blows, which is also on Disney Plus. Other streaming services are available. Um, so that's a very good show. But anyway, um, it's about the elephants. What are they called? Anyway, the
Anyway.
40 elephants or something like that. It's anything having to do with like like women who rob and steal and take over, you know, cities is right up my street. So
On the watch list.
so it's like I think they're called the 40 elephants anyway. They're a
Oh,
bunch of
interesting.
thieves and they yeah. I wish the show covered them a bit more than what it does. But
Mm.
anyway.
Mm.
Yes, and that's it.
Yeah, I
We've
mean,
come to the end.
I'm very excited. The costumings alone have me excited. I'm glad we still have questions. Like sometimes these trailers we can pinpoint like, oh, that's exactly what that is,
Mhm.
and that's how exactly it's going to go. But for this show, it does have a lot of care from Tony Gilroy, their production team. Yeah, it's very exciting, and we're so close. We're right around the corner from getting these episodes to drop.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. April 22nd. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you gonna I've been asking people this. How are you going to watch them? You're probably gonna cover them, right? So you're gonna watch them that night, all
Yes.
three.
Yes. I'm hoping they show one of those episodes at Star Wars Celebration while we're in Japan. Um,
Okay.
and because I have tickets to the main Celebration stage panel, so I'm hoping they'll
Mhm.
surprise us with the episode. They might not because it is only a few days prior.
Right.
But regularly, I'm just at home sitting on my couch watching it. Maybe throw a vest on or something to get into the
Good. Nice.
mood. And it would be great to do like a watch with friends. Sometimes we get together. I did some of the other Star Wars shows with my family, but Andor
Yeah.
I lock in, right? Because I am
Yeah.
doing the reviews. So I usually do two. That's going to be the hard thing because now I'm looking at an hour and a half, maybe more,
Right.
and then possibly a second for my reviews. But I'm gonna try to do it and just try to like pick it apart and see. And costuming is always one of those things that I try to pay attention to, especially for our
Yeah.
with Burgundy Squadron. So
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch it the day after, obviously, because they'll
okay.
they'll come out at 2 in the morning here or something like that.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
So I'll watch it the following morning,
Okay.
um, and
Stay
it'll
off the
probably
social
be
media. Don't go there.
oh, yeah, yeah, no, I'll be fast asleep by the
All right.
time they air, and then I won't check my phone in the morning.
I know for Mando season 3, I would wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the episode before I got
Yeah,
ready for work.
yeah,
Um, but that's why I wish I prefer one episode a week, and I was very surprised that it's 3 because we only get like a month of this
I
versus
know.
a month and a half or so. So
I'm thinking it has to be tied to how it was shot. I think that maybe they ran into something that felt a little too episodic with
Yeah.
the first season
Yeah.
rather than it feeling like 3 arcs. Is it 3 arcs?
Yeah,
4
around
arcs? Yeah.
3 or 4 arcs, yeah.
Um 12 episodes, 3 each. That's 4 arcs.
Yeah, 4 arcs,
Yeah.
yeah.
So rather than it being 4 arcs, maybe it felt a little too episodic to them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where there was a start and stop to each episode. I don't feel that way watching it back. But
Yeah.
maybe there's something about how the story is being told that we need those chunks, that it would be maybe
Yeah.
awkward to kind of split them in three
Yeah.
and continue the story. Maybe there is no like natural break point. Sometimes people make, shows with a natural like break point every, you know, 100 pages or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever it is, every 10 pages or whatever it is, 100
Sure.
pages, whatever.
But
Um,
I know what you're saying.
so yeah.
Yeah, because
So
like,
maybe
if
there
the
is no.
episode didn't like, "Oh, we can't get to that part where we would normally break," maybe it's like an hour plus and the next
Mhm.
one will be 30, so they probably
That's what
they'll
I'm
probably
thinking.
be doing it that way. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And rather than doing like, yeah, an hour 20 this week and then like a 30-minute
30
one
minute,
next
yeah,
week
that
and
would
then a
drive me
weird
crazy.
like 45 one, people would like riot. So
Yeah.
I think what I'm gonna do just for like the sake of like maybe eking this along a little more is I'll probably watch an episode for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I
Yeah.
work from home. Oh no. I work Wednesdays. Now I go
Oh,
into the
no.
office. Oh no. I'm gonna have to quit my job. Wednesdays I go into the office. I bump the mic and everything. I'm so
He's so upset.
emotional. Um so we'll see how I figure that out. But yeah, I was thinking of doing it that way where I
Breaking
would
it up. Yeah.
watch and then kind of break it up and do like 3 episodes that, running,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
like
who
one
knows?
on Wednesday, one on Thursday, one on
Mhm.
Friday. Yeah.
Just so that it feels like it's a little longer or something
Yeah.
to me,
I wouldn't be
so
able
you
to
can see it
handle
go.
not seeing it all if it's, like, staring me right in the face, unless I
Yeah,
just
if it's
pass
long.
out, from
Yeah.
the time. But, yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for this show, and, I think in a previous episode, you were like, "It's gonna happen so fast that it's the end of it, you're gonna be sad," and I was like, "Oh, yeah," and I was, like, getting sad. I'm like, "Ugh, that's why I want more already," even though
No.
even though it's gonna end, but that's why I'm holding out hope for another show like this after Andor,
Yeah,
so we could continue this vibe, because Andor season 1 is my favorite Star Wars anything in media,
absolutely. Me
and
too.
it's just far and above. I made the joke when the group was saying, "What's your top 5, Star Wars things?" I was like, "Oh, well, it's Andor, 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 and then Return of the Jedi." The four slots, and then the fifth goes Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I love this show so much. So I'm just
Yeah, my top 5 is the first 12 episodes of Andor.
no,
Squeeze
give
them in
me the
there.
5
That's
arc, the
your problem
Albani arc.
now.
Luthen's speech can take one of those spots.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Wow. Oh, we were talking about in the episode that we just recorded, where we were taking a look at our favorite moments of season one.
Yeah,
Absolutely a horrible thing to do to ourselves to have to pick and choose. But what I found was interesting in a rewatch is that there are kind of three, and it's not exactly like beginning, middle, and end, but it's close enough that there are these like tent pole like monologues, one being like Nemec's manifesto, the
oh,
next
right.
being Luthen's speech,
Speech, yeah.
and then Marva's speech. So
Oh,
it's not
right. That,
exactly
yeah.
beginning, middle, and end, but it's these like three tent pole like moments where
Yeah.
it's a kind of a pivotal moment in the story, and then obviously for these characters, coming to grips with some of these things, teaches Cassian like what this ragtag bunch is doing on
Yeah.
Aldani. I
Yeah.
think it gives him the moral compass to kill cousin. I always forget the character's name.
Yeah.
Cousin from the
I
bear.
forgot his name. Yeah, I forgot his name. The Thing. We'll call him the Thing.
I call him cousin. So he kills cousin. I hate him. I hate that he killed cousin because I love that actor and anything. Look him
Yeah,
up.
he's great.
Look up his IMDb. Watch everything that he's in because he's incredible.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I think that gives him that, moral compass. Nemec's manifesto gives him the moral compass to make that decision. I think Luthen, as he's delivering that speech to his informant, is coming to grips with like who he is, and that's why it's so impactful that he
yeah,
has now had to like put these like uh, um, uh, uh, feelings and actions into words. And I think you could see that in the performance that he's like,
yeah,
oh, I burned myself, like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then obviously Marva's speech, which is super
Incredible.
inspirational, but it's
Yeah,
also like very real in that like she's like, I should have fought more. Like, I'm sorry
yeah,
that I'm telling you this from the grave. Like,
right.
it feels very real. It's not just this rousing speech of like get up and fight like I
Yeah,
always did. It's kind of like a little bit of like I should have done more and maybe I failed you a bit, which just makes it
mhm,
that much more real. Anyway, we're
yeah.
going on and on now.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great perspective to have. I didn't really think about those speeches because they're all very impactful in different ways for
Mhm.
Cassian, for the audience, as Temple, and hopefully we get something similar to in Andor season 2. Just keep this train moving, keep
Yeah.
this great thing going.
Okay. Well, please thank you so much for being here and tell
Of
everyone where
course.
they can find you online. All of the
Yeah,
things.
you can find me my YouTube channel Raincore. I post videos about like reviews, movie reviews, Star Wars stuff specifically. Rancor on Instagram, Parade Rainer for my Burgundy Squadron looks and my travels, Etsy, Twitch. Rest in peace, Hunters. But there's still a couple months where we'll still have that. Uh, but yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Billy, it was great talking to you and pouring over this before we get into the show. And shout out to One Scavenger Wardrobe, Kate Ryder. We miss you very much, and thank you for letting me step in and fill these boots for you. And what is it? Thread up, boo, thread up.
Yeah, booth right up. Get sued.
Well, Gorman
And
riot in this week to get thread up.
have an amazing time in Japan
Thank
at
you,
Star
thank you,
Wars
thank you.
Celebration. Like, I am vicariously like living through you on this, and we've got a number of friends that are out there. A lot of Burgundy Squadron
Yes,
members are out there. Are there already? So
jealous.
connect with them if you can. They'll all be there. Hug them, say nice things to each other.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I am Billy Maddox. You can find me on Instagram at Billy Maddox. That's where I'm at. Also on Blue Sky at Billy Maddox. Um, yeah, find me there. And thanks so much to Raimi, our producer, who's always in the background, chiming in with some stuff,
Mhm.
giving me grace to say one F bomb per episode. And thanks so much to the Dad Batch for bringing us on and giving us this show where we do this week on week. And remember that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away can be right here and right now.